Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be joining us from. We'll give it a minute or so, make sure everyone can find their way into our webinar today. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be joining us from. I know we have people um, throughout the United States joining us today. We appreciate you spending some time with us. We'll get started here in a minute or so as we make sure everyone can find their way into the room. All right, to keep us on time, I think we will go ahead and get started. Um, Thank you for joining us from wherever you are across the United States. We're so excited that you're taking some time to learn more about the forensics programs available at Arizona State University through the new College of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences and the partnerships that we have and you all have through academic alliances here at Arizona State University. I want to quickly introduce you to who you're chatting with today. My name is David, and I am the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Services with New College. I work very closely with our recruitment team, with our operations team, advising, and student retention. And joining me today is my colleague, Kathy. I'll let Kathy introduce herself.
Thank you. I'm having trouble with that mute button for sure. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kathy from Academic Alliances, and I'm a program manager, community college engagement. It's my pleasure to be here today and connect with you once again.
We'd also always like to know where people are joining us from. So if you want, feel free to put into the chat uh, your community college, what state you're in, what region you're in. Just that way we know who we're chatting with today and can give you a shout out. We're going to start with some stuff from the forensics programs, and then we'll work our way over into the My Path to ASU Pathways items through academic alliances. Feel free to put any questions you have in the Q&A. We'll be sure to get to those throughout and by the end of the presentation as well. So to kick us off, I really always like to start with a little bit about New College. So our full name, New College of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences. That's a long name, so we often shorten it to New College. But as soon as we do that, we get the question, oh, New College, you don't have a name yet, you must be new. Nope, we've actually been around for over 40 years. For us, that new really refers to how we approach our degree programs. We always like to make sure that what our students are learning in the classroom is the latest and greatest cutting edge. So that way, when they're going into the workforce, we've already asked those questions to their future employers. Is what the student is learning in the classroom right now what you need for them to fulfill your job needs? So we're always working to continue to be new. Being new for us is really special. There's only 3 universities across the United States that have a new college designation. Us, a university in Florida, and then across the Atlantic Ocean in Oxford, they have a new college that was founded in like 1353. So we feel pretty good for only being a little over 40 years old. Um, when you do hear our full name, there is a really important word in there, interdisciplinary, and it's the way that we approach our degree programs. We understand that in today's society, students and the workforce isn't really able to tackle problems in silos. They need to be able to be interdisciplinary and understand how disciplines are connected and work together. So our degree programs are built with that in mind, really able to help students better acclimate to understanding they're going to not only need to know forensics in different areas of forensics, but how do you communicate? How do you show empathy? How do you write? How do you bring all of these different pieces together to understand where you're coming from. Um, we do have four schools within New College. The one that we're going to focus in today is the School of, excuse me, the School of Interdisciplinary Forensics. A little bit more about that here in a couple of slides. But before we get into that, the New College of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences is located in the heart of innovation in the West Valley at ASU's West Valley campus. That's Glendale, Arizona. We have about 5,000 students currently on our campus. We are in the middle of a large growth goal. So between now and the year 2030, we have a goal of 15,000 students pursuing undergraduate, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs. This doesn't mean that our students are limited to taking classes only at our West Valley campus. Sometimes they are interested in doing additional minors certificates that take them to our other campuses. That's completely okay. We currently do have students from 47 different US states, 34 countries from around the world. Since our establishment in 1985, we've had a little over 14,000 students graduate from the West Valley campus. I'm very biased because that's where my office is located. But when you think of Arizona, you don't always think of lots of green space and whatnot, whereas the West Valley campus, tons of green space. You don't always feel like you're in a desert. You feel like you're in a little bit of a desert oasis. All right, I mentioned New College being new. Uh, Again, founded in 1984. We're not measured by that clock. We are really continually looking to how we continue to be new. I mentioned our four schools built with that interdisciplinary mindset. I can talk about that forever and ever, but my marketing team was nice enough to put together a little video for us to really focus in on what does it mean to be interdisciplinary through the lens of our college.
What is interdisciplinary? It's breaking down barriers between areas of study. Bridging the gaps to better understand our planet. Solving complex problems. Creating new solutions. Always asking questions. A holistic approach. Combining fields of study. All in a world without boundaries. There are no simple answers to our global challenges. But we see opportunity in our next generation of disruptors, change makers, and dedicated problem solvers. We believe the world is in good hands. We are the New College of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences.
So like I mentioned earlier, four schools: School of Humanities, Arts, and Cultural Studies, School of Mathematical and Natural Sciences, and the School of Social Behavioral Sciences. And then the school we'll be focusing in on today is the School of Interdisciplinary Forensics. Quick facts about School of Interdisciplinary Forensics. It's got 15 research labs and facilities, and our students have access to many of these lab spaces 24/7, whether they're looking to interact in our DNA lab, our simulation lab, our research methods lab, or they're wanting to set up a mock crime scene because they're a forensic science major. They have that opportunity. Several years ago, our forensics programs were split between a couple of our different schools. And what we finally decided was it was time to bring our forensic science programs under one roof into one school, which then we created the School of Interdisciplinary Forensics. So this is the only school of interdisciplinary forensics in the US. We have about 3,500 plus forensics alumni in our different degree programs. And then since 2020, we've had about $6.3 million in research funding. The majority of that funding focuses in on undergraduate research, where students have the opportunity to work one-on-one or in small groups with our faculty to really pinpoint ideas that they want to explore. So really taking that idea of going beyond the classroom. This is a really important approach that we take within New College, and we're really excited that whether you're a first-year student or a transfer student, you don't have to wait until you have a certain GPA. You don't have to wait until you have so many credit hours to be able to do it. From day one, if a student is interested in being part of that research, we want them to be able to do that. Um, Looking at the broader idea of forensics, forensics has so many different facets that our students can travel down. So what we did within the School of Interdisciplinary Forensics is really look at how we could unify behind the common purpose to pioneer and apply science to improve legal systems and protect people and society. So our entire degree programs not only look at forensic science, forensic psychology, digital forensics, but really hones in on how are we helping protect people and society from different areas of crime, human behavior that might be appearing in our communities. We currently offer 4 different undergraduate degree programs within the School of Interdisciplinary Forensics, and we'll talk about each one of these here. We're going to start with digital forensics. So right now, we actually about a month ago received approval. This degree used to be called computational forensics, is now the BS in digital forensics. This is not only a forensics degree, but really focuses in on computing. So I like to think of it as a computing degree with an emphasis in forensics. So our students really get to look and use computer modeling data to better understand crimes that were committed, or how can I use computing power to simulate different things from a crime scene or collect the data and process that through. This degree really has that impact for our students who are passionate in the computing realm and forensics to really create that interdisciplinary approach to what we are looking for in conversations from business and industry partners in the field of digital forensics. So this in its core is a computing degree. Because of that, it is very math heavy. Substantial math students actually start out in a Math 270 course. So as they're going through the community college process and thinking about transferring, Math 270 is what they start out in here for ASU, the ASU program. So definitely something to keep in mind as students are starting to think through a digital forensics computer degree. This program, unlike our others, is only offered in person on the West Valley campus. That then takes us to our BS in forensic science. This particular degree, I like to think of it as general forensics. So you're going to learn a lot about the different areas of forensic science, whether you're interested in DNA analysis, evidence collection, blood spatter analysis. You're wanting to tell the story of what happened to somebody. That's what our forensic science students get to do. Whenever I start to talk about this degree, I usually ask students, so why are you interested in forensic science? And half the time I do get students that are like, it's because I watched CSI and I want to put on that bulletproof vest and I want to carry a gun. That's great for them. But that's actually not a forensic science degree. That's criminology and criminal justice, and we want to get you over to our friends in the Watts College of Public Service and Community Solutions. So from day one, we are really helping students to understand forensic science. If you're watching a show like CSI, the people wearing the white lab coat in the background, those are the forensic scientists. Those are the people that are putting the puzzle together to better understand how a crime was committed and process through that evidence. This degree at its core is a biology and chemistry heavy degree. So whereas digital forensics has a lot more math in it, this one's going to have a lot more biology and chemistry. So we want to make sure students are really comfortable in that arena as they consider forensic science options. Math 210 or Math 251 is really where our students start out in for math within this particular degree. Now, this one is offered through the West Valley campus and ASU Online. ASU Online typically is a 100% degree online. This degree, along with one of our others, forensic science death investigations, are offered online, but do have some in-person components where students come to campus to study in person for some very intensive science lab courses. That usually a week long over the summer for 2 different summers. So we like to be upfront about that as students are considering a 100% degree online. It's like 98% online. That then takes us to our BS in forensic science with a concentration in death investigations. This particular degree Just like our forensic science, which would be more general forensics, this one focuses in on death investigations. So really looking at processing through a crime scene, what potentially happened at that crime scene, how are you collecting evidence, how are you documenting it, and how are you communicating out what might have happened to that victim. Both the forensic science and forensic science death investigations degree, because we're an interdisciplinary college and these are both heavily interdisciplinary programs, one of the things that our students do is they do take communications classes. And that's by design. We really want to ensure that our students understand that you can be a great forensic scientist, but if you don't know how to communicate your findings, write down your findings and share those findings, how are you helping solve problems in society or find individuals who committed crimes, especially if you eventually end up in a courtroom where you have to share as an expert witness, the evidence that you collected. So they do take communications courses to better understand how do I communicate all of the things that I've discovered and need to tell a story for a victim who is no longer able to tell their story. That then takes us to the other side of forensics, and that is psychology. So we do have both a BA and a BS in psychology with a concentration in forensic psychology. So this is really where human behavior and the law connect. Our students really get to look at potentially why was a crime committed, or why did that person potentially go and commit that crime. Our forensic psychology students do end up going on and working in behavioral analysis. Maybe they're interested in really looking at the aspect of individuals who could be potentially going to commit a crime, and how do we provide support around that. So working not only with young adolescents, but also really working in school systems, connecting with social workers, connecting with law enforcement units to better understand the why behind somebody might be committing this crime, or why they committed that crime. This also leads into students in forensic psychology better understanding why um, uh, certain people collect evidence in a certain way. So a lot of our students get to do hands-on research in better understanding something like expert witness testimony. I had the opportunity to tour one of our expert witness labs a couple weeks ago, and the example that they talk about is expert witnesses and how unreliable sometimes they are. So they actually are doing a research study right now where students come in or the community, and they start filling out a form. And why they are filling out that form, the research has actually already started because somebody walks into that room and takes a backpack that's sitting in the corner. In 30 seconds, somebody else walks into that room and says, somebody just came in here and stole a backpack. Can you tell me about them? We're trying to find them down because that's not theirs. So really even looking at within that 30-second window, how reliable is that witness's testimony? So because there are so many different aspects to forensic psychology, our students have two different tracks that they can choose. One of them is the BA. The Bachelor of Arts really allows our students to look at some hands-on learning through an applied application process of forensic psychology. But then we also have the Bachelor of Science in psychology with a concentration in forensic psychology. So our students do have that opportunity to do additional statistics research courses if they're interested in more of going into a research route for forensic psychology. Up front with our students, we always like to make sure they know that neither one of these degrees leads to a licensure. That is something that usually happens on an advanced degree level outside of their bachelor's program. So definitely some different options for them to start down that pathway, but neither one of these programs does lead to it. Both of these programs are offered either on campus or 100% online through ASU Online. Biggest difference for these programs are going to be where a student starts out in math, and then the additional science requirements that they have as part of the BS. So if they are part of the BA, they're going to start out in Math 119 or Math 170, whereas in the BS, they are going to start out in Math 170. Both are considered math intensive, moderate level programs. So they do have some math components. Sometimes we do have students that come in from the transfer realm where they have taken maybe the requirements for an associate's in social work and are thinking of wanting to go into forensic psychology. Usually that's going to be a lower level math, and they'll need to take some additional math. So we like to be really upfront with our students as they're having those conversations with their advisors at the community college and thinking about transferring in. Our admissions requirements for all of the programs that I discussed do follow ASU's general admissions requirements. There are not any additional requirements needed for them to be able to be admitted into any of our 4 undergraduate forensics programs. So as long as they meet ASU's general admissions requirements, they are good to go with the admission. All of our programs also are connected through a My Path to ASU. So definitely something that we always encourage our transfer students to do, especially as they are thinking through what pathway they want to go down in forensics. And especially if they're not 100% sure if they're wanting that forensic science, biology, chemistry heavy degree, or they're wanting to go more into the human behavior, psychological sciences side of forensics. This really allows them to better see their game plan, not only while they're at the community college, but also when they are eventually transferring to ASU and into our program. Because we are an interdisciplinary college, we always like to talk to our students about minors and certificates. And especially with our forensic students, they love to think about adding that minor and certificate to make them stand out in the workforce. So we did pull some data for you all. Based off of our forensics programs, these are the top minors and certificates that our forensic students do go into. One of the most popular minors, criminology and criminal justice. Not only do our students want to understand where human behavior and the criminal justice system connect, they want to understand what happens after they've identified somebody, whether that is through the lens of forensic psychology or in forensic science. What's happening in the criminal justice system for them to be prosecuted? So our students really like that understanding. And the other big one, and again, why we're really built with that interdisciplinary mindset for our programs, is writing. Every single business and industry partner we talk to say, please make sure your students know how to communicate both written and verbally. So a lot of our students have opted into doing something like a writing certificate to take their writing to that next level, followed by a biological data sciences certificate. So that way, if our students are thinking of going into research, they really have that additional layer of biological data science understanding. Students are not limited to these minors or certificates. ASU does offer over 300 minors and certificate options, so students really can create an experience that is customized to what they're looking to get out of their experience while they're here at ASU. So why ASU? Why New College? We're really going to encourage your student to customize their experience from day one, even before they get here. With that My Path to ASU, we're really encouraging them to start to think about what do they want their experience to look like while they're here. Maybe it's joining a club or organization, or really going beyond the classroom and looking at some different opportunities for them. So 4 that I really want to focus in on with you are undergraduate research, our global learning experience, the honors college, and then advising and internship opportunities for them. So let's start with undergraduate research. I know I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this is really an important part of the new college experience. And we like to tell students that not all universities offer undergraduate research, and not all colleges at ASU offer undergraduate research. We are so excited that we are one of them. And we do that through what we call the New College Undergraduate Inquiry and Research Experience. That's a mouthful, so we call it NQuire for short. But this really gives students the opportunity to better understand how they can put into practice what they are learning in the classroom. And we make it really easy. If students are talking with a faculty member during class and are interested in research that they're doing, all they have to do is go up to them and say, hey, how can I get involved in this? They help them with the application and can really start to hone in on what that looks like for them and their unique experience while they're here at ASU. Most students that participate in research not only have higher retention rates and graduation rates with us, but they go on to produce papers as first or second authors. They go and present their research at national and international conferences. And we also do host an awards poster project for them every year called the NQuire Symposium, coming up here actually in the next few weeks on campus. But our students get to actually showcase to other students and the community what their research has led to. So some of the research projects that received awards this past year from our School of Interdisciplinary Forensics is what is in the bag, fact sheets for commonly trafficked arthropods. We have one of the largest collections in the US of illegally trafficked arthropods. So if you ever want to see bugs on display, let me know. We can take you to our lower level classroom, one of our classroom buildings that houses all these arthropods on display. The influence of underconfidence on perceptions of less than thinking confident identifications. Again, our students who are really looking at that forensic psychology lens and better understanding how are we making identifications for people who are, we assume, committed the crime, and how accurate is that testimony. Socioeconomic inequality and school shootings. Our students who are interested in studying forensic psychology and school shootings and different crimes around that definitely have that opportunity to do research. Analysis of microbiome of moved remains after treatments of soil with select chemicals. We have a lot of desert landscape on campus. So I remember one of the first weeks I was working here at ASU in the West Valley campus, I saw some crime scene tape, and the person that was giving me a tour, I said, "Is this a safe place?" And they go, "Oh, that's just our students. They're putting together a fake crime scene to better understand different things that are happening around the soil. Or did somebody walk through here, or was that potentially the footprint of the killer?" So students are doing research on different things like that and better understanding the influence in the world around them, such as chemicals. The use of filler control method to calibrate forensic evidence analysis. So even in this top image here, that's one of our students that's doing research on different machines that we use and how accurate they are. So this one happens to be testing metal, and I believe that's aluminum foil, to better test, how long can evidence potentially live on there, or are there other ways and methods for us to collect evidence based on the type of surface that the student is studying on. That then takes us to our interdisciplinary global learning experience. We always encourage our students, whether it's directly connected to their major or something that they've just always wanted to do, is study abroad. And one of the feedbacks we get, not only from our first year students, but our transfer students especially, is I've never been out of the country and I don't know if I can go and spend 6 months in a different place that I've never been before. So with that in mind, our faculty created the interdisciplinary global learning experience. Students can use elective room within their degree program to take a class where they spend an entire semester in the classroom, learning side by side with the individuals who are going to be going on that trip with them, along with that faculty member. They study arts, culture, entertainment, politics, economy, literature, anything under the sun that they might interact with within that country. So that way, then by the time the students go and spend 2 or 3 weeks in that country, they have a better, deeper understanding of where they are. And our students continually tell us they're much more appreciative of the experience because it became a fully immersive experience. Even in these images, these are some of our students that were in Germany for one of our trips. This very long image, those are some images that were taken when we went to a orphanage in Ghana, where our students were studying sex trafficking and how that was being affected young kids in that orphanage. And then one of my favorite images is some of our students that were at an elephant sanctuary. When we went to Thailand, through the students' research, they discovered there were a lot of Asian countries that had a deep appreciation for elephants within their culture. So they got to actually go to an elephant sanctuary and hang out with elephants for a day. I don't know about you. Sounds like a fun thing that I've always wanted to do ever since I saw that photo. This year, our students are actually going to Amsterdam, where they are currently studying the role that Amsterdam played in slave trade. Many of our students do also choose to participate in Barrett the Honors College. In fact, forensics programs make up over 30% of the students that are part of Barrett the Honors College at the West Valley campus. So definitely a unique opportunity for them to continue their honors work if they were doing honors work at the community college, but then also if that's something that they never thought they were interested in but want to, they can definitely do that. It is an additional application process that we can help them with along the way. And last but certainly not least, for why new college is advising and internship support. From day one, your students would have a dedicated advisor for them. For our forensics program, we actually have a forensics advising team that they work with. So from day one, they'll get not only class recommendations, but we're going to encourage them to meet with their advisor at least once a semester, talk through different things that they're looking to do, not only while they're here at ASU, but beyond as well. How can we set them up for success short term and long term? Many of our forensic students do have aspirations for a career in getting a law degree or in healthcare. So we do offer pre-professional advising as well. So any student who is wanting to apply to medical school or a career in healthcare or any sort of advanced degree like that, they can meet with our pre-health team to better understand the requirements for the medical school that they're applying for, but then also what they should be doing now during their undergraduate career. Same thing for law. Students that are interested in going to law school, we want to make sure that we are setting them up for success now and making sure no matter what degree they are in, they are taking the necessary courses to be able to do that. We also offer a lot of internship support. Many of our students in forensics choose to participate in internship, and our forensics psychology programs do require a applied project or an internship. So definitely they're connecting with our team there. Part of our goal with our internship support team is to ensure that our students from day one are finding an internship that is actually going to not be, I'm going and getting coffee for everyone in the office. No, we want them to be putting into practice what they're learning in the classroom into real world experiences. On our campus, we do host regularly internship career fairs where our students can get connected with different local opportunities, national or international opportunities. We often have students that are looking to do internships with government agencies such as FBI, Homeland Security, Congress as well. So definitely lots of opportunities for students to connect with their recruitment teams within those internship programs to better understand how they can go about doing that. No matter what type of internship they are looking for within the realm of forensics, if it involves any sort of government agency, police department, local state offices, they do require a background check. So especially our transfer students, we like to communicate to them, hey, start thinking about your internship now so that way you can start that background check process as soon as possible. Mostly because it's not a standard background check, it usually goes a little bit deeper. And if the student has any sort of anything in their background check that's going to pop up, not only will they not be eligible for that internship, but most likely there'll be a plethora of jobs that they are no longer eligible for. So we want to make sure they know that early on so we can help find the right pathway for them moving forward within a degree program at ASU. Our students don't do this alone. We are big on this concept of hands-on learning with our faculty. So all the examples on your screen are faculty where our students get to work one-on-one with them or in small groups in their lab spaces, both inside and outside the classroom. I actually had a conversation with Professor Sri Kantaswamy the other day where he just got in some new lab equipment. He goes, here, hold this for me. And it's this little like 4-inch by 2-inch metal tubing holder. And I go, what is this? He goes, that's what holds the DNA sample. And this particular piece of equipment, we had to get a new one, and it's about $2,000 you're holding right now for the larger machine that's much more expensive. So he is a really great advocate for hands-on learning and helping students understand the ins and outs of everything that's in his lab that they would then get to interact with. Laura, our associate professor, focuses in on law and psychology, where she gets to work with students and better understand eyewitness testimony, expert witness testimony. She often is called into expert witness testimony here in the Phoenix area, and she often brings students with her to understand the cases that she might be working on. Max Goyle works on criminal interrogations, false confessions, so better understanding if somebody is making a false confession, how do we prove that? So that way then an innocent person doesn't go to jail. Lauren Widener often works with our forensic science students, not only on crime scene investigation, but also the arthropods I mentioned earlier. She is a big supporter of maintaining that database and sharing that database with outside sources as well. You can often find forensics in the news. As recently as 2 weeks ago, one of our professors was able to figure out and is working and continually doing research on fingerprints as a new way to detect drug use. So all of these articles are available on our website, and I'll make sure that that gets put into the chat before the end of this presentation, so that way you can see the full article as a whole. We're also doing research and helping solve crimes. That's a big one. So on TV, we see detectives and special agents and forensic scientists solve something in a matter of 43 minutes, maybe 90 minutes if it's a two-part episode. It doesn't always work out that way. So really helping our students understand all the ins and outs that go into really looking at how crimes are solved and doing research to help people better understand that. And then suspect lineups when they go wrong. What is the process of how we actually find out that information and bring not only justice to the victims, but also making sure that it's the right person that's being prosecuted for that crime. So how do we better help lineups and police departments better understand how that information is used or should be used, and continually do research to then better educate law enforcement? So with that, I've been talking for a while, and I'm going to hand it over to Kathy to talk more about my path to ASU and how that all works.
Thanks, David. I feel like I know so much more about your programs now. I really appreciate all the information. And there is a question in the Q&A if you'd like to. Do you want to do that verbally while I switch over to
Yeah, sure.
screen
Let me
sharing?
pull that up
Okay.
here. All right. When a student chose to do a cert alongside their degree, is it extra classes? Great question. The complicated answer is yes and no. If a student does have elective room, they can use some of their elective room towards that certificate and their degree program. But depending on when they are starting it, because a student can start a certificate from day one after they've been admitted up until their final semester. So if it's their final semester, yep, it's going to extend their timeline, and they're going to have some conversations with their advisor about what that looks like. But on a day-to-day basis, we do work really closely to see how do we minimize that additional time spent here, and what can be counted in multiple areas. So we do work with our advising team really closely to make sure that that's possible. But we also do have really upfront conversations with students of like, if your certificate is in something like writing and you're a forensic psychology, forensic science major, there isn't going to be a lot of overlap where those classes can count in both areas. So let's talk about what this actually truly looks like for you and your unique situation.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I see your names in here, and I see that we have a lot of really experienced advisors and other folks watching today. So I think you all know about my path to ASU. In case we have anybody that's newer or you need a refresher, always happy to share this slide showing the benefits of signing up for my path to ASU. The difference between just looking at the information online and actually signing up for my path to ASU is that when students sign up for it, they are connected with us and they receive personalized communications at every stage of the transfer process, so that they can plan ahead while they're with you, and make sure that they're taking everything that they need to apply to both their associate's degree and ideally and their bachelor's degree as well. And then, of course, my path to ASU, when the pathway requirements are completed, then they are guaranteed admission into the major of their choice. And so that's a great feeling of reassurance as they progress in their education. And so we're going to take a quick look at what the tool looks like. And you all will receive this slide deck. Actually, sorry, this slide deck will be posted on the Academic Alliance's website. And so you can access these links later on. Hey, as you can see, it's a normal transfer guide, but it's also powered by over 1.5 million course equivalencies in our academic transfer credit solutions department's course bank, or whatever they like to call it, their database. And so those requirements are really clear. And if by chance they're not sometime, you have a question, just reach out anytime. We'll connect you with the right person in ATCS, in the credit solutions department, to help address any issues or questions that you might have. And so students in the Maricopa community colleges sign up a little bit differently than all of our other partners. And so we'll cover this first. There's a special page, admissions page for Maricopa students. To access My Path to ASU information, there's a sign up video that's fairly new. It's just been on there for, I don't know, probably about a month or two now. The button on, there's two buttons. The one on the right is for the exploration phase. So like we were just looking at. So you've probably clicked on this a lot of times just to look up requirements quickly for students and to show them the pathways. And then the button on the left is for them to sign up. And when they do that, they will be asked to sign in with their MEID and password to log in. And then signing up for My Path in Maricopa currently is like changing their major. So they go to their My Academic Plan and they go through the process of selecting a plan. This one actually is showing that the student is enrolled at two different colleges, but I think most often it's probably just at one. But they will click Change Plan /MAP, which is the old name for My Path to ASU. They click on Change My Plan, and then they fill in the term that they're signing up in, the reason for attending, and their plan of choice. You guys might see my cat in a minute because she's about to step on the computer, it looks like. So then they complete the sign up by clicking OK on all the things, saying that they confirm that they want to sign up. And that's it for Maricopa. Then they get their ASU Right ID in email within about 2 weeks to be able to sign in and see their My ASU page and go back to the pathway at any time. So students outside of Maricopa community colleges, anywhere in the US, across Arizona, all of that. Here's a recap of those benefits. There's 3 easy steps to sign up. And so they let us know how they would like to study at ASU, online or in person, or at one of our ASU local locations across the nation. They choose their program and they submit their personal information so that we know who is signing up for which pathway. And they can access their My Transfer Guide at that point with their ASU Right ID that they will receive in their email. And this is what that My Transfer Guide looks like. This is a close-up of what we just looked at. The course search can come in really handy for students who have attended more than one institution, so that they can put those courses in to this course equivalency guide basically and see how they would transfer without leaving their pathway. So down the middle column are going to be your courses, but if they've gone somewhere else, they can use that course search to see what else might apply to their program that they've taken. And then the My Path tab is what we're looking at. I think exam search will help them know if they'll receive any credit for courses that they've taken exams like CLEP and AP and IB. Student resources is kind of a catch-all for any other information that Academic Transfer Credit Solutions wants to share. And we'd like to remind everybody, because we get this question from time to time, that international students and all students are welcome to sign up for My Path to ASU. Doesn't, lock you into anything. They can always sign up for New Pathway if their goals change. And if they decide to transfer somewhere else, we'll no harm done. We just do want all of our students to, prospective students to be able to have all the tools at their disposal. So we hope that you encourage them to sign up when they first express interest in considering transferring to ASU. So to recap, they create that pathway while they're still with you and studying with you. They go ahead and apply to ASU, typically about a year before they want to transfer if they're transferring in the fall, and at least about 6 months ahead of time if they're transferring in the spring. And then they come on over and finish their bachelor's degree with us here. And then I also wanted to let you know that we would love to see you, if you're not already signed up for our field of interest, based on your field of interest, college fair. We are having a great big transfer fair, just ASU, at Gateway Community College in Central Phoenix. And I will put the registration link, if I can get to the chat here, in the chat for you. So this is for community college advisors and faculty. And we also did open it up to Gateway Community College students because they're right there on campus. It's an open house style event. We'll also have some presentations from Earn to Learn Scholarship, which is a great way for students to offset the cost of tuition. Sales, the Student Accessibility and Inclusive Learning Services, will be tabling at the event. And we'll have a presentation from admissions, and we'll have a presentation from Military and Veterans Services, and the Pat Tillman Veteran Center. Yes, we'll have a table in the big room as well, and we'll have refreshments and swag. It'll be a lot of fun. Drop in anytime between 1:30 and 4:30. We would love to see you. So, sorry, this is a little bit outdated because we're in this one right now, but the next College Connections webinar is on May 21st. We hope you'll join us for that. School of Geographical Sciences and Urban Planning. And then we have transfer days coming up, and you guys will be getting some emails if you're on our mailing list about this, for your students to come to transfer day at ASU at all Phoenix metro area campuses. I'm going to open it up now because I think I saw another question come across, and I'll stop sharing. And David, did you see any questions there? I think one was in the chat.
Kevin put in a great question that I'll touch on here too, is, can a student who's still in high school, who's doing dual enrollment, still use something like a pathway to better understand what classes they should be taking? Yeah, 100%. Especially because students in high school, they might not 100% be going to the university. They might be going to the community college. So we never want to give up a tool for them to find out how they can be the most successful version of them as they're figuring out, what they eventually want to do. So definitely something they can do. I would also encourage any student to visit tcg.asu.edu, the transfer credit guide. That's a great resource for students to say, hey, I'm taking a class at this community college. How is it going to transfer over to ASU? So another great tool for them just to see that one-off class that they might be taking through dual enrollment through a community college partnership, and see how it would eventually look like at ASU. So I would never turn a student away from using the amazing tools that we have set up to better understand, what all of their options are.
Yeah, and I wanted to add, we do want everybody to be able to use My Path to ASU to have that clear pathway. But if they're in Maricopa, they might need your help with some human intervention to be able to sign up. If they have not graduated from high school yet, they have a different admission status, I understand, at least from past experience. So they might need some help being able to add the pathway into their program plan. So either from an advisor or from records and registration, whoever has some access to be able to help them change their plan. And if there's any trouble with that, they can follow the pathway, and as soon as they graduate from high school or sign up or get admitted at the community college, then they could sign up for the pathway at that time. Either way. Do we have any more questions at this time? David asks, no issue connecting their already existing ASU right to their application, right? Well, in theory, that should be the case. If there is, please let us know and we'll get you connected with somebody who can figure that out. We don't want to have duplicate accounts for them if we can help it. But we definitely have, our IT help desk who can assist us if needed. So if there's any issue there, have them follow what's on the pathway so they have the right information. Let us know about the technical issue and we'll help you get it solved.
I also put in the chat our website, forensics.asu.edu. That's a great resource for prospective students, current students, anyone really, who wants to find out more about forensics. It also has our contact info on there. So as students are going through the process, whether they're they're doing their first year at the community college and want to get on a pathway, definitely can have them reach out to us. We are more than happy to set up one-on-one appointments and make sure that they're getting what they need, because especially in some of our STEM programs, there are a lot of different options and pathways of you can take this, but you can also take these other 6 things. So we want to make sure that we're getting them all the information so that way they can make the choice that's best for them.
I'm putting my email into the chat in case you guys have any questions for me or for anybody in academic alliances, if we can provide transfer support in any way as we wrap up the spring semester pretty soon here.
Having great question on the AP stats. It does depend on the score. So usually the student would get some sort of credit based off of a 4 or 5 score. It might not be for their stats requirement, but it's never going to hurt them if they do have that.
All right, David, what do you think? I think we might be out of questions, but
Yeah.
they can always reach out to us anytime.
Yeah, and I know questions pop up later on. Feel free to reach out. My contact information is on the forensics.asu.edu. You can always reach out to New College at asu.edu. We're more than happy to get you connected to the right people. I know we had a lot of people joining us from the Phoenix area today. If you're ever interested in coming to campus with a group of your students or you want to tour yourself, feel free to reach out. More than happy to work with you to get that set up. Our forensics teams are always looking for people to donate some DNA, so that way we can do some real live demonstrations. So never hesitate to reach out. More than happy to connect with you.
All right. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Have a great rest of your day.